Welcome back, everybody, to more Irae Amantes Amentes. In the last episode, we had a horrible dream. We were greeted with a voice during our little date with Kasumi here at the museum. And she showed up in our dreams. A horrible guillotine accident. Well, not accident, but a horrible guillotine. Killed us. And we woke up just now. And Kasumi, who has been here, you could see she's kind of worried. She saw the whole thing, and we didn't like that. It's not it. Should I? I'm debating on turning his voice off so I can narrate his lines as well, but I don't know. Would you guys like that? If you'd like that, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just keep going the way it is and narrate his thoughts or whatever. I wouldn't have been released from the hospital if I hadn't made a full recovery, so this dream had nothing to do with my injuries. It was nice that Kasumi was so worried about me, but if I didn't make things clear now, she'd end up driving us both to ruin.
Oh,
no one's buying that, man.
人の寝顔をジロジロ見てる変態がいたせいだな。うなされてたのは。
Nice.
それ私のこと？
No, of course not.
他に一体誰がいると？
うわ、何この恩知らず。そんなこと言ってると、もうご飯作ってあげないよ。
How will I survive? Kasumi gave me an exaggerated glance, shaking the kitchen knife she had brought from her room back and forth. It's a little weird, right? No wonder I had a nightmare. Who wouldn't if there was a crazy person holding a knife staring at them while they were asleep? At least that's what I tried to tell myself.
危なっかしいからしまえよそれ。俺の前でそんなもんちらつかせないでくれ。
There's gotta be more to that dream, Sometimes dreams are just pointless, but sometimes they mean stuff. I mean, Carl Jung made his whole career based on, interpreting dreams and stuff.
それはあんたの部屋に包丁がないから悪いんでしょ？まったく、私がいないとレトルトばっかり食べるくせに。少しはその辺感謝して、多少の役得をくれたっていいじゃないの。
役得？
Benefits. What was she going on about?
レンの寝顔、可愛いんだな、これが。
Come on.
起きたら小生意気なんだけどね。
I began to seriously consider wrapping her in a blanket and throwing her out the window.
抱きしめて唇奪ってやろうか、この女。
Oh, hello.
図星？
No. No.
そんなわけあるかよ。とにかく朝飯なら勝手にキッチン使っていいからさっさとしてくれ。
はーい。なんかレンって意外に亭主関白臭いよね。
Kasumi headed off into the kitchen, still waving that damn knife around. I really needed to look into closing up that hole in the wall. That said, her morning antics had done a good job of helping me forget about that horrible dream. I was grateful for that at least, if nothing else. It was currently 7:20 a.m. Kasumi and I sat at the table about to get started on the rice, grilled fish, and miso soup that she had made. Truly a Japanese breakfast, if I'd ever seen one. It was about 30 minutes from our apartment complex to the school, so right now we could afford to spend 10 minutes eating, 10 minutes cleaning up, and 10 minutes getting ready. It's rude to talk with a mouthful, didn't you know that?
Huh?
Kasumi took a sip of tea, washing down the rice that had been stuck in her mouth. Had anyone ever taught this girl the first thing about manners? Probably not.
制服クリーニングしといたからね。
ああ。
If memory served, it had been covered in blood and dust, in addition to being ripped up all over. Our uniforms were made from white cloth, so it would have been hard to miss.
クリーニングでよく片付いたな。新しいの買おうかと思ってたのに。
そう言うだろうと思って注文もしといたけど、 なんか少し時間がかかるって言われたから。新品が来るまでちょっとみっともないけど、これで我慢しなさいね。
Okay. Kasumi placed a folded uniform that had been lying next to her onto my lap. I opened it up to find that it had been patched together here and there.
何その顔。
It's bad memories, you know?
いや、もしかしてこれお前が？
悪いかこの文句あるか？
Well, let me just say don't quit your day job.
文句は別にないけどさ。
While Kasumi's cooking was more or less edible, her sewing skills left a lot to be desired.
まあ、ありがとう。あとは冬だし、ずっとコートでも着てりゃいいかな。
授業中も？それって校則違反じゃない？
Just tell them you're cold. What are they gonna do?
固いこと言うなよ。病み上がりなんだ、俺は。
Yeah, they'll be forgiving, right?
昨日は病人扱いするなって言ったくせに。
Kasumi shot me a glare and proceeded to begin chowing down on the single tarako on her plate.
辛い。
But you cooked it. Well, of course it was.
っていうかお前、それ二人で分けるんじゃないのかよ。何一人で丸ごとトライしてるんだ。
She's being greedy.
やかましいわね。あんたには絶対やらない。これうちのお母さんがくれたんだからね。
And so she began nibbling on her taraka without even using rice to soften its taste. Well, her funeral, I guess.
辛いよ。
Oh my goodness. She looked like she was about to burst into tears, the poor girl.
お前頭大丈夫か？
大きなお世話です。バカ。
Paka. She turned her whole body away from me in her chair. She apparently had no further intentions of speaking with me. Not that I really gave a shit. It would have been nicer if she stopped mumbling stuff like so spicy, but so good. While acting like that, though. It's kind of creeping me out, really. Since Kasumi had retreated into her own little world, I found myself without anything to do while we ate breakfast. I decided to check out what was on the news, which had been playing in the background this whole time. Unfortunately, there really wasn't much that caught my interest. Mostly just the usual about the weather and whatnot. And for an average citizen like myself, even the sensational news about corrupt politicians and celebrities caught in having affairs wasn't really that exciting or relevant. Well, since there was really nothing interesting on television, I decided to see if Kasumi had decided to stop acting like a child yet. But right when I was about to shift my focus back toward her...
され、死亡。
What? Whoa, hold the phone. What did they just say?
昨夜遅く、諏訪原市の公園で男性の他殺死体が発見され、同市警は殺人事件として捜査を。
Someone died. Wait, had there really been a homicide in Suwahara? My Suwahara?
現在のところ、通り魔的なものであるとの見解がなされており、それというのも被害者の頸部が切断されるという猟奇的な犯行であることから。
Severing of the victim's head. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? What else severs victims' heads?
凶器の断定はまだできていないとのことですが、おそらくは鋭利な刃物、日本刀、もしくはそれに類する刃渡り60センチ以上の刀剣であるという説が有力視されています。
There's a person going around with a katana slicing people's heads off? Oh my god.
なお、被害者の男性は諏訪原市の会社員、生野健二さん、24歳であり、死因は頸部の切断による。
Do we know that person? I don't think we do. I stared transfixed at the news report as it elaborated on the details, but the sound of a plate shattering shook me out of my trance. Kasumi must have dropped it. One could hardly blame her for having been surprised. Here we were eating breakfast as usual, and all of a sudden on the news starts going on about the gruesome details of a homicide. Suwahara City Park, the site of a murder, was a place most residents were very familiar with as well. So Kasumi's reaction was very normal. The details of the incident, however, were far from normal. They said that the cause of death was decapitation, so in other words, his head was cut off? If there were no other wounds on his body, then the act must have been carried out swiftly. Maybe the culprit got the guy as if we were walking by each other, snuck up on him from behind, or they could have knocked the victim out first. I couldn't be sure of the exact details, but if the murder weapon was a sharp blade like the newscaster had said, it seemed safe to say that the victim had been beheaded in one clean strike. You'd need nice superhuman strength in order to pull something like that off. The culprit would have been some sort of giant bodybuilder, and a guy like that walking around with a katana or something, well, that would definitely attract some attention. Yet, according to the newscaster, there were no records of anyone suspicious in the area around the time of the murder. So what? Had they set up a piano wire trap in advance or something? My hand shot to my neck. Here I was, trying to come up with some realistic scenario to explain the murder. Well, more accurately, I was trying to come up with an explanation that didn't involve that. I was trying to avoid thinking about the implement that one couldn't help but associate with beheading. I'd seen it myself at the museum. Hell, if I had even had a dream involving it the night before. The guillotine that stood so imposingly amid the execution grounds in my dream. I could still remember it severing my head in vivid detail. I had woken up to find that someone really had been decapitated. Was this just a coincidence? Just something I could laugh off as not concerning me? After all, I had seen the same girl in both real life and my dream. It was already apparent that the boundary between the two was thinner than we thought. Who could prove that what happened in a dream couldn't also occur in reality? Oh, in other words, my dream had been. Oh, whoa. Kasumi was right. It wasn't healthy to keep going down this unrealistic line of thought.
わかった。着替えるから部屋戻っててくれ。
別に照れなくてもいいのに。
うるさいな。それより。
はいはい。玄関使いでしょ。面倒だから嫌ですよ。
I mean, doors are literally the most painless way of entering and exiting an abode.
とりあえず先に食器だけ片付けとくね。
Even our typical morning routine felt somehow strained, you know? It's weird.
ほら、もたもたしてない。さっさと行く。
Alright, I'm coming. But unlike me, Kasumi wasn't the type to keep moping around forever. It was business as usual as she stood in front of the apartment building, harassing me, as usual.
なんで男のあんたが私より準備に時間かかるのよ。
What does that mean? I have to make sure my hair is immaculate in the morning, and that takes time.
あ、それともあれかな？もしかしてお化粧してたりしたのかな？
I use a little foundation here and there, what of it?
殴るぞ、お前は。
Did no one ever tell her that it was rude to make fun of other people's appearances? I mean, that's about as rude as one can be.
そっちこそ少しはシャレっ気くらいつけろよな。いつも汗まみれで竹刀ばっかり振ってるから、男じゃなくて女にモテ。
はは。
喧嘩売ってるわけ？
先に売ってきたのはお前だろうが。
Right. Yeah, I mean, you're the one who brought all this up.
何よ？昔はそれがいいとか言ってたような気がするのに。
気がするだけかよ。
Keyword think. I sure as hell never said that.
だいたいあんただって女の子にモテ。
なくても別にいい。特にお前には。
What are we a ladies man? We're popular with the girls?
ちょっと何これ？ほんと可愛くないですよ。
だから可愛くなくていいんだよ。あと、これってなんだ？
Yeah, we're not an object.
Oh yes. この木石野郎。
Brain cells were going to start dying if I continued this conversation. I didn't feel like being late for school the day after I got back from being in the hospital, so I urged Kasami along.
ほら、行くぞ。
I know how all you are with me pronouncing things wrong.
はーい。で、本当にコート着てきたんだね。まだそんなに寒くないのに。
今日は冷えるって言ってただろ。
そうだっけ？
Well, they did, but I thought better of bringing up the news again.
俺、寒がりだしな。
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. I get cold really easily. But it's been hot out the last few days, so... And I'd rather people not see the patchwork mess I was wearing. That's mainly the reason. I kept that last bit to myself, of course. We know better to hold our tongue. We walked for a bit until we hit a crossroads. This junction was in the heart of the city, so you could say that all the roads converged here and then split off again. The city was split neatly into blocks by the main streets crossing here, with the church and hospital on the side facing the mountains and the park and amusement park on the side facing the sea. As long as you started from here, it wasn't possible to get lost. I figured one might expect this sort of thing from a city known as a tourist destination like Suihara. No one would bother visiting if it was impossible to make your way around, right? Of course, last night there had been a murder at the park of the seafront side of Suihara favored by tourists. Not exactly the sort of thing that's good for businesses. The police were probably already on the move looking for the killer. It would be best not to walk around at night for the next few weeks, in more ways than one.
Ren!
Kasumi suddenly called out to me, yes?
そっち方向違うよ。
I am.
そっちはその
Right, of course.
悪い。
The fastest way to reach school was to cut through the park, so I had instinctively started to walk in that direction. Thank God Kasumi had caught me. I had no intention of approaching a murder scene of my own volition.
久しぶりなんで道忘れたかも。よければ手とかは引いてくれると助かる。
あのね、バカな冗談言ってると本当に置いてくからね。もう。
Damn, no luck. I tried playing it off to lighten the mood, but all I managed to do was piss her off. Ah, school. In the end, though, Kasumi made sure I was following her the whole way to school. See those Japanese symbols on there? That's Japanese for fire extinguisher. Probably not. It's probably fire axe or something. That's probably extinguisher. I don't know what those say. I'm just making that up. I decided I should express my gratitude by offering her some important advice.
お前、先に教室入れ。
Always count your chickens before they hatch. No, wait, no, don't count your chickens before they hatch. They might not hatch at all.
は？
だから俺のことはもういいよ。気にしないで、ほら、教室。
あんた何言ってんの？
わかんないかな。お前鈍いよ。
You don't get it. You never have. Maybe I really couldn't complain about Kasumi being so open, but at times I wish she was a little more perceptive. It didn't even occur to her on the way here. Sometimes I just wasn't sure about this girl.
今俺と一緒に教室入ると、お前変な目で見られるぞ。
なんで？
I mean, we live next door, right?
なんでも何も。
I was already enough of an outcast to begin with, and now here I was, coming back to school after spending 2 months in the hospital because I had gotten in a huge fight with a classmate. It wasn't hard to predict what sort of response I would get.
そんなのと仲良くして変な噂立てられたくなかったら、ここは当たらず触らず。って。
Who cares about rumors? Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Yeah, I definitely shouldn't have said that. Kasumi was the sort of person with a strong sense of justice. A rarity in this day and age.
ムカつくな。私そういう考え大嫌い。ほらね、一緒に行くよ。
She grabbed my arm and started dragging me with her.
頼む。
Wait, no, wait. Oh, good, it's empty. Great. She might have managed to make a nice entrance, emphatically swinging the door open and all, but things didn't go so well after that.
何かなこれ。
お前のテンションに引いてるってのが多分3割。
She knows how to make a scene. The other 70% went without saying. Unfortunately for Kasumi, the world did not care if one was in the right or not. My first day at school in 2 months was off to a stellar start. As I had expected, I didn't exactly blend into the classroom. I caught my classmates casting sideward glances at me more than a few times. Kasumi didn't know when to quit, so she kept trying to get me involved with things, but I would rather she just left me alone. A man has to enjoy his peace and quiet. It wasn't like I was getting off on the idea of being some aloof loner or whatever. No, but I wanted to take things easy for the time being. A form of rehab, in a sense. It was only natural for people to be wary around someone who had been involved in a violent incident, so I couldn't get angry at my peers. In fact, if they had started acting all friendly instead, it would have felt more like they were afraid of me in some way. And that really wouldn't sit very well with me at all. I had never had any friends except for Kasumi and that other guy. I can't remember his name. Shiru, that's it. I should have just kept reading. And Himuro in the first place. Nothing wrong with things staying the way they were. So Kasumi didn't need to keep up the futile efforts.
早く飯でも食ってこいよ。
だからレンも一緒に行くの。
I had the honor of being invited to lunch by my childhood friend, who just so happened to be a bit of a celebrity around school.
何が悲しくて一回も口聞いたことない女5人の集団に俺が混ざらなきゃならないんだよ。
They're not gonna be all creepy and like whisper things like, it's that guy. It's the guy who got in the fight.
それは誤解を解くために。
やめとけよ、バカらしい。
A group of girls, if I could remember their names, stood behind Kasumi gazing at me suspiciously. I knew it. I knew it.
あれ、友達だろ。だったら嫌がらせみたいなことしてやるなって。
なんでよ。レンも私の友達じゃない。
そう言ってくれるのありがたいんだけどな。
They don't see me as a friend. Was she trying to argue that a friend of a friend was a friend too, or something? Come on.
とにかくこういうのは最初が肝心なの。あんたもこれを機にマイナスイメージを払拭して。
People aren't gonna give a damn what I say. And start making your daily life into something meaningful, blah, blah, blah. She's just started going on with this stuff like she was straight out of some sort of after-school special. No, thank you.
ちょっとレン、聞いてるの？
Okay, I was seriously getting fed up here. Oh, crap, hang on. Sorry, I had to pull the guide up again. I didn't expect the choice already. So we want to persuade her, you know, we're like, okay.
俺は別に周りの評判なんか気にしてないし。
You don't care what others think.
私は気にするの。みんな何も知らないで勝手なことばっかり言ってんだから悔しいのよ、そういうの。だからってほらちゃんとこっち見る。
I am looking at you. Kasumi grabbed my face from both sides. Clearly I wasn't getting off that easily. The idea of trying to persuade her had probably been doomed from the start. But damn it, we tried.
あのな、俺はこれでも俺なりに。
何よ、なんか文句あるわけ？
Before I could respond with, of course I fucking do. What? My phone? Is that me? That's probably me. Hello, Moshi Moshi.
嘘、レンにメールが来た。
来ちゃ悪いのかよ。ほら、話せ。
What sort of reaction was that? I thought Kasumi was supposed to be sticking up for me, not treating me like some outcast herself. I shook her off and looked at my phone's screen. Text message.
どうしたの？
Shut up, I'm reading.
いや、悪いな、かすみ。
あ？
先約があったのを忘れてた。
Already had plans. Damn it, Plum forgot.
ちょっと待ってよ。こら、レン。
飯はまた今度誘ってくれよ。
I slipped past her and offered some parting remarks as I entered the hallway. I cast a glance to the side, only to find Kasumi's friends still staring at me. They didn't need to conspicuously avert their eyes as soon as they noticed I was looking at them. Jesus. It's so obvious. You know, see, it was just as I said, really. People's preconceived notions didn't go away that easily. And honestly, people weren't exactly mistaken in their perception of me. So trying to clear things up or whatever was a ridiculous idea to begin with. People already knew what they thought of me, and nothing I said was going to change that. There was no need to expend a bunch of effort only to end up making things awkward for everyone involved. Like I was trying to tell her earlier, I did try to be considerate in my own way, since Kasumi had problems understanding the nuance of delicate situations like this. So I wasn't really happy with her trying to give me shit about it. Congratulations again on the hospital. School was lonely without you. How are you feeling? There's some things I'd like to talk to you about, so I'll be waiting by the roof. By the way, no one else is around. Oh, was that Shiru? Just the two of us. Ah, that doesn't look like a Shiru emoticon. Just the two of us. I don't... Oh, what's that? Just me and Fuji. Hurry on up, Himuro. Himuro! Oh, we don't like that. Like, damn it. What was I supposed to say to this? Looked like she hadn't changed a bit. We haven't met Himuro yet, have we? I don't think we have. I wasn't sure whether I should heave a long sigh or start laughing. Ha ha. As a senior, surely she had something better to do than messing with her underclassmen. I really couldn't figure that part of her out. Like, okay, true. I couldn't picture her getting stressed out over college entrance exams or job hunting. So maybe that sort of carefree approach did suit her, but... well, let's just say that she took things too far. Well, anyway, the roof, huh? It would be a little rude to just turn down her offer, and besides, I was looking for a way to give Kasumi the slip anyway. Perfect timing. I climbed up the stairs and threw open the door to the roof. CG? Do I get a CG? It's cold. It was December. Put it simply, the roof was murderously cold at this time of year. Why the hell anyone would eat up here is beyond me. Before I'd taken my 2-month leave of absence, there were still plenty of students eating lunch up here every day, but obviously no one was crazy enough to... oh, yeah. I guess there was someone crazy enough to keep using the roof. I heaved a sigh as I searched. There she was, sitting on a bench by the fence and munching on a sandwich. Why did she pick the coldest spot on the entire roof to sit anyway?
Senpai?
No, that's Himuro. Silly. I didn't get a response, so I went ahead and sat down. Ah, CG. Who eats a sandwich with both hands? That's clearly a one-handed sandwich. That she's weird. Her name's Ray. Oh, that's not going to get confusing. Ray and Ren. I suppose it's better than Stimpy, but... I had been sitting next to her for nearly 10 seconds now, but she hadn't even looked in my direction, let alone try to strike up a conversation. She didn't fall asleep, right? Nah, unless she sleeps with her eyes open. That'd be weird.
Senpai?
That's Himuro.
Huh?
Huh?
寒い。凍った。温めて。
Well, why are you up here? Ooh, music. I like this jingle. It's very pleasant. For a moment, I considered just getting up and leaving. This was Irae Himuro, the senior who happened to be one of my few friends. I don't have many friends, but I value them all dearly.
それ、暖かそうね。
She's looking at me.
藤井君。
Oh no, I hit the button. No. There we go. Aw.
貸してくれると私嬉しい。
Hell no, this is mine.
っていうか、むしろ貸せばか。
Hello? Excuse me? Language. This was about what you could expect from her.
正直、ちょっと甘く見てた。天気予報もなかなかやるね。
Well, consider this your punishment.
それで藤井君、私とても寒いんだけど。
We could go
優し
inside
さ、見せてはくれな
where
い
it's
の。
warm.
どうでしょうね。
For all her claims that she was freezing, she wasn't shivering one bit, and her expression seemed more or less normal. I really couldn't be sure of her intent, but she was eyeing my coat. I like this coat, I'll have you know. And I'll be damned if anyone's gonna steal it from me. That stare of hers was colder than any weather.
ちゃんと後で返すなら。
She's not gonna give it back. This is gonna be an ongoing thing. She's gonna have our coat till the end of the game. Thanks to Kasumi's sewing job, my uniform underneath was looking more than a little fancy. But I didn't feel like getting into some sort of war with endurance. So I stood up and took off my coat.
なんだったら、二人で着る？こう、仲良く肩寄せ合って。
遠慮しときますよ。
Nah, we're alright. I made my stance clear and stuck the coat on her.
暖かい。
That's right,
藤井
I'm
君は
nice.
優しいね。
I'm a nice guy.
そっちはどう？寒くない？
Well, I wasn't until now.
暖かいって言ったら嘘ですね。
じゃあ遠慮しないで。ほら、入りなさい。
Mura flapped the hem of the coat, gesturing for me to join her. Did she want to screw with me like this all day long?
で、俺と何を話したいんです？
Yeah, come on, let's not beat around the bush here. What do you want?
さりげなく無視するのね。
I'm not ignoring you. I'm talking to
まあ
you.
いいけど。まずは退院おめでとう。綾瀬さんにはもう言われた？
おかげさまで、昨日しっかり。
Oh yeah, she was the one who gave us the tickets, right?
じゃあ、デートした？
Yeah.
おかげさまで、そこそこしっかり。
Thanks to you, I had a horrifying nightmare last night. And I'm probably roped into something much bigger than myself.
そう。よかった。
Exactly what part of that was good was comparatively lost to me.
まあ、これでも食べなさい。
She offered me an egg sandwich. What was I? A dog being rewarded for a trick? I'm no dog.
しっかり食べないと大きくならない。苦労するよ、いろいろと。
I eat fine enough, thank you.
健全な精神は健全な体に宿るらしいし、早く真人間になりなさいね。
She was really laying it on today. Apparently I didn't even qualify as a real human being. Well, if this is what I have to come back to from the hospital, then these are no friends of mine, right? Right. Sorry, but I felt confident that I was better at this whole human thing than she was, at least.
何？
いや、別に。
It's nothing.
思ったことは言いなさいよ。そんなだから喧嘩になる。
You're probably right.
ユサ君ともどうせそうでしょ。
Who the hell is Yusa? Oh, that's the guy's name.
食べてる？
Alright, we'll eat your damn sandwich. I opened up the egg sandwich and gave it a few bites, offering a flippant reply into the process.
話したいことってのはそれですか？
そうって言ったら帰っちゃう？
微妙ですね。
I knew that wasn't a great answer, but I gazed up at the sky. It's so pretty and blue. Why was everyone trying to lecture me like this as soon as I got out of the hospital? I mean, what I did really that worrying? Like, okay, I was sure most people would consider my scuffle with Shuru to be far more than a mere fight, right? But it wasn't like I had been singled out for violence by a group or anything. I could understand people who I wasn't particularly friendly with going out of their way to avoid me or getting an earful from Kasumi, but I never expected Himuro, of all people, to go at it too.
先輩に説教ってのは似合いませんね。そっち系は霞だけで足りてますよ。あいつが2人もいたらマジで胃に穴が開く。
Hell, the main reason I came up here was to get away from her bitching, and yet I'm getting bitched at again.
苦労人だね。
おかげさまでね。
I dropped my shoulders and sighed. Himuro resumed eating her sandwich as if nothing had ever happened. I guess that was about what I expected from Himuro. If I had to try to describe her, she was like a ghost. She possessed a certain indefinite nature, like she wasn't concerned with the events of the world around her. At the same time, she would occasionally act up, as seen earlier. The way she kind of kept her distance was similar to my own position on things, so I did get along with her better than I did Kasumi. That's why the two of us had managed to become friends.
さっきのはちょっと綾瀬さんの真似してみたの。君、めんどくさそうな顔しながらまんざらでもなさそうだし。
That's because we like us, yeah.
そういうのが好きなのかなって一度試してみたかったから。でも似合わないならやめよう
Oh,
か
wait, no,
な。
I asked us Kasumi, and we don't like her.
そんなに私変だった？
そりゃあね、だいぶ。
Just be yourself, alright? How are you supposed to react when the person lecturing you seemed like they were about talking to thin air?
で、本当のところは何のようです？まさか霞のモノマネしたかっただけでもないでしょ。
Yeah, I'm freezing. I don't have my coat.
下手したらあり得るけど。
うん。まあよってほどじゃないんだけど。
Question.
聞きたいことが一つだけ。
Do you like Kasumi? She cast me a sideward glance, her tone as flat as ever.
君とユサ君、どっちが勝ったの？
Oh, well, I did, of course. You should have seen the other guy.
結構話題になってるのよね。月額最強決定戦。
I got my ass kicked. What do you think? I was in the hospital for months.
今のところ64でユサ君有利。でも復学してきたのは君だけだから、そのあたり揺れてるね。
I didn't take Himura for the type to get in on fads like this. Who won, me or Shiru? Well, if you took that to mean who was stronger, then
俺ですよ。
me. Of course. Of course I am.
本当に？
嘘ついてるとでも？
さ、ただユサ君に聞いても同じことを言いそうだから。
Well, yeah, he might have. No, scratch that. He definitely would have.
怖い顔。やだね。これだから男の子は。勝ったの負けたの。そういうのがそんなに大事？肩こらないかな。プレッシャーだよ。
聞いてきたのは先輩でしょうに。
Yeah, she asked. We gave her an answer.
そうだけど。うん。そうだった。ごめんなさい。じゃあ、質問を変えようか。どうしてユサ君と喧嘩したの？
That's a little more involved, I would imagine. Probably something we don't want to discuss.
答えたくない？
そうですね。
It wasn't something I was willing to discuss with others. Himura was the one who had found Shiru and me passed out up here and called an ambulance for us. So in that sense, I was indebted to her, but that didn't really apply to this. Himura sighed.
まあ、三角関係のもつれとか、そういうお手軽いネタじゃないのは察するけどね。君とユサ君、そんなジャンルのキャラじゃないし、綾瀬さんモテそうに見えないし。
She didn't exactly mince words with that one. I figured it would be best not to try and argue, though. Shiru and I weren't the type to get into fights for wholesome reasons like that. And indeed, Kasumi wasn't popular, at least not with us.
そんな君たちが、なんでか友達だったのが不幸の始まりだったのかな。実は私、前からこうなるような気がしてたよ。だから、神様は性格悪いなって思ってた。うん。今度一発、君の代わりに殴っとこうか。遠慮しないで、善意だから。
そりゃどうも。
Not exactly the sort of thing someone who lived in a church should be saying, but I didn't exactly feel obligated to stop her. If she wanted to punch out Jesus, then she could be my guest, as long as I wasn't the one receiving divine punishment over it anyway.
だいたい、君に喧嘩なんて似合わないよ。怪我とかしたら、みんな悲しむ。うちのシスターなんて、きっとそっとするんじゃないかな。
シスター？
Is she mean the nun at the church? Well, she's an only child, so she'd have to be. I'd only met her a few times before, but she was really something else. To say that she had a model-like proportions would be an understatement. To put it simply, someone like her working as a nun was a great loss to the world. I wouldn't mind giving Jesus a sucker punch or two myself over that one. Can't wait to meet this girl.
名前何でしたっけ？
Her name is, Ayumi.
シスターリザ。
Way
青い
off.
瞳のボインボイン F カップ。
F cups. Wow.
ちなみに私は B カップ。
Screwing a nun, that's gotta go to hell for that one, right? That's like a sin, right? TMI?
そのうち大きくなるかもしれない。
No, that's not how they work. They're big as they're ever gonna get. I kept quiet. There was no sense in crushing her dreams.
で、その F カップさんは元気ですか？
Miss F Cup doing. Her name's Lisa.
B カップは興味ないの？
それはとりあえずノーコメントで。
I'm more interested in hiccups. No, that was a horrible joke. I rolled up the wrapping paper for the egg sandwich I had begun eating and tossed it into the pocket of the coat Himura was wearing. Not missing a beat, she proceeded to hand me a tomato sandwich. Where the hell is she getting all these sandwiches?
彼女、今寝込んでるよ。
風邪ですか？
She's sick?
そうじゃなくて。
She took out another sandwich. Where the hell is she keeping all these sandwiches? And then with the same unwavering blank expression on her face, she dropped a bombshell.
殺人事件見ちゃったから。
Wait, did she witness the murder in the park?
ニュース見てない？公園で殺人
Alright,
事
now
件。
things are getting interesting.
首ばっさり、血がドバー。怖いね。私も食欲なくなるよ。
That's why you gave me all these sandwiches. She said, happily chowing down on a tomato sandwich. Whatever, that wasn't the issue here.
見たって、つまり犯人を？
She saw who did it?
うん。そっちじゃなくて。
Damn it, she
や
didn't
られ
see who
た
did
方。つまりその
死体を？
第一発見者。私もね。
I wonder what would be worse, seeing the person like doing it in the act or seeing the victim die. Like, provided if you could only see one of them. Seeing some maniac just cut some guy's head off, or seeing the guy completely helpless just drop dead. She nodded casually. If this was true, we were talking about some serious shit. This was the sort of thing that could traumatize someone for life.
おかげで私、一晩中警察で事情聴取。リザはあんなだから先に返しておいたけど、大丈夫かな？ちょっと。
それより、先輩は平気なのか？
私は寝不足なだけ。カツ丼くれるかなと思ったけど、あれってドラマの中だけなんだね。がっかりしたよ。どうしたの藤井君？変な顔して。
She was the weird one here. I mean, I had always thought she was a little off, but...
もしかして、本当に話したかったのはそれなんですか？
どうかな。話の流れで思い出したから言ったんだけど、もしかしたらそうかもしれない。容疑者扱いされてショックだったし、ちょっと愚痴ってみたかったのかも。ねえ私、愚痴っていいかな？
Be my guest.
まあ、いいですけど。
A murder case. There were a few topics less suitable for mealtime. Honestly, it wasn't really something I wanted to hear about either. Unfortunately, I couldn't avoid feeling curious about the matter. I couldn't seem to rid myself of thoughts about the dream. I decided to go ahead and listen to what Himuro had to say.
11時過ぎだったかな。あそこの夜景が好きだから、よくリザと見に行くの。
Okay.
いつもはカップルばっかりで、たまに時間とか出るんだけど、昨日はなぜか誰もいなくて。思えば嫌な感じがしてたんだよね。寒いのに生暖かいっていうか、ちょっと変な雰囲気で。あの時に帰らなかったのは失敗だったよ。後悔してる。
Himuro began her story, an uncharacteristic hint of self-derision in her voice. The park she was talking about wasn't the sort of place housewives took their kids to. It was a seaside park that offered a view of the opposite shore and its various attractions, like the sky-high tower, the amusement park, shopping mall, resort hotel, and so on. As such, it was generally utilized as a date spot, teeming with people late into the night. It would seem that that was not the case last night, however.
橋のたもとあるじゃない。ほら、よく君とユサ君がバイクで遊んでたところ。あそこって不意に暗くなるんだよね。地元の人間でもあまり知らないような場所。最初に気づいたのはリザの方。彼女が言うにはスプレーかと思ったらしいよ。でも実際はそうじゃなくて。
A wall dyed in red paint. A sticky gelatinous torrent of foul-smelling.
私の第一印象はコルク抜いたばかりのシャンパンかな。
Oh my god.
線が外れちゃってるっていう感じで、少し離れたところに転がってたよ。こうゴロンと。首って結構飛ぶんだね。それに血もいっぱい出るんだ。驚いた。
Blood made up about 8 to 10% of a person's total weight. For an adult male, that would have meant around 5 to 6 liters. It was no stretch to say that they had come across a literal sea of blood.
よく失神とかしなかったですね。
女の方が血に耐性があるんだよ。あと、いざという時の度胸もね。 とにかくそのまま帰るわけにもいかないから、警察に電話して家まで送ってもらおうと思ったんだけど。
任意同行を求められて朝まで事情聴取ですか。
そう、失礼しちゃうね。丸腰の女二人にあんなことができるわけないのにさ。
Well, I mean, you were witnesses, right? I mean, you didn't see it go down, but you did come across the body. I mean, it was natural they would question you. She meant cleaving off someone's head in an instant like that, according to the news.
日本刀かそういう感じの刃物なんじゃないかって。
そうらしいね。だから今博物館を調べてるんじゃないのかな。
Oh yeah, the weapons museum exhibit.
何か亡くなった展示品がありはしないか。もしくはどれかに血痕があったりするんじゃないのか。
What if we go back there and we find the guillotine just has blood all over it? Oh, wouldn't that be wild? And I wanted to laugh that idea off, but the circumstances made it difficult.
その推理ちょっと漫画的な気がしますけど。
でも同じ町にあれだけ凶器を置いてるところがあるんだし、無視するわけにもいかないんじゃないのかな。
Well, she had a point.
そのあたり藤井君はどう思う？
どうって。
Are you calling me a murderer?
何か思い当たることはなかったの？例えば伝説の妖刀がこっそり紛れてそうな雰囲気とか。
Sadly, no. Even overlooking the ridiculous example, I couldn't tell if she was being serious or not.
藤井君？
いえ、特には。
そう、ちょっと残念。
As ever, her disinterested tone was at odd with her words. Himura resumed eating. I simply looked up to the sky. A grisly decapitation. This was the sort of abnormal, gruesome event that would give you goosebumps just thinking about it. Anyone living in Suwahara must have been scared out of their wits. After all, murders this bizarre rarely ended with just one victim. For all we know, another body could turn up tonight. And I might have been involved.
実際、みんな落ち着かない感じだね。きっとしばらく部活とかは中止になるよ。早く家に帰りなさいって。
Yeah, that would make sense.
もし周りの子たちが藤井君を過剰に怖がってるような感じなら、それはきっとそういう理由もあるんだよ。
It's natural people would be
だからあ
suspicious.
んまりショック受けない。
I mean, a guy gets in trouble for fighting, puts in the hospital, and then on the very day he's released, a murder happens that night?
俺は別にそんなことはどうでも。
そうなの？じゃあどうして元気ないかな。おかしいね。ああ、もしかして綾瀬さんと喧嘩でもした？
違いますよ。
嘘ばっかり。
She threw the coat she'd been wearing over my head.
ダメだよ。好きな子には優しくしないと。物騒なんだし、君が守ってあげなくちゃ。
Yes, Mom.
じゃあね、藤井君。コートありがとう。
Oh, happy to do it.
あと、本当は、
Oh, look how cute she looks. She's
私も
blessed.
少し怖かったから、おかげで気が紛れたよ。
Himuro gave me a rare grin. She seemed just a little embarrassed. If she acted like this all the time, she'd establish a fan base in no time. Well, that aside.
俺の好きな女とか勝手に決めないでくれますか？
Exactly.
俺は別に霞なんか。
はい、それも嘘。
You lie. Well, I am doing her route, but only because it's been recommended.
とにかく、いい加減裏に回る癖を直しなさい。もうユサ君はいないんだから。じゃあね。
With that, Himuro left the roof behind. I heaved a sigh. In the end, I really was just lectured the whole time. I was kind of miffed. It was cold as hell on the roof, but I lost the will to return to class, so I decided to skip. Pfft. Probably get an earful later, but whatever. Apparently, I had fallen asleep at some point. I opened my eyes to see What do we see? Oh, we're going to find out Friday on more Irae Amantes Amentes. Have a good day, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, leave a like. I would greatly appreciate it. And some feedback is always appreciated. So I will see you then. Take care.